India. Birthplace of a civilization that is over 5,000 years old. A land where ancient traditions live side by side with a dynamic modern society. This spectacular aerial journey captures this unique nation's incredible sights from above for the first time. It shows how ancient festivals still dictate the rhythms of life here, and how Indians are forging new traditions today. From the drive to make democracy work for everyone in a nation of over 1 billion people, to ensuring ancient skills and techniques are preserved for future generations. Our bird's eye view reveals how this nation is embracing its past to forge its future.
Neither to the right nor to the left, but marching forward.
The day India became a republic within the Commonwealth was certainly historic. Beneath portraits of Gandhi and Mr. Nehru, the High Commissioner, Mr. Krishna Menon, read the proclamation at India House.
India, that is Bharat, shall be a sovereign democratic republic.
The High Commissioner then made and signed a solemn declaration of his allegiance to the new republic and addressed the gathering.
2.5 years ago, the British Empire passed power into the hands of the Indian people. We became an independent country, and today, by the proclamation of our Constitution, made by our own people in the exercise of the wisdom and the determination and the collective responsibility, we have set the formal seal to the inauguration of that freedom in the form of a constitution.
Later, at the reception, he welcomed the many guests, who included Lady Mountbatten. Mr. and Mrs. Attlee were there, and Mr. Anthony Eden. The occasion was undoubtedly a happy augury for future relations between the British and Indian peoples.
वंदे मातरम। सुबह सूरज की किरणें आज की सर्द सुबह अभी मानो आंखें खोल रही हैं।
India is fast emerging as a major science and technology hub. It secured 38th position in the Global Innovation Index among the top innovative economies in 2025. Driven by leadership in space, IT, AI and digital capabilities, massive pool of STEM talent, strong policy support and booming startup culture, the year witnessed many milestones in this domain. The year began with a historic achievement by ISRO. Space Docking Experiment or SpaceX mission's docking operation was successfully completed, marking India's entry into the elite group of nations capable of executing space docking operations, a critical capability for future advancements such as satellite servicing, space station operations and interplanetary exploration. Indian Air Force Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla made history as the pilot for Axiom Mission 4, becoming the first Indian to visit the International Space Station. He conducted pioneering experiments in microgravity on subjects such as muscle regeneration, algae, microbial growth, crop viability and others. It is a vital stepping stone towards India's own human spaceflight ambition, including the Gaganyaan and Bharatiya Antariksha Station. First Made in India 32-bit processor chip was presented to Prime Minister Narendra Modi during Semicon India 2025. It marked a milestone in India's semiconductor journey. India is rapidly building its semiconductor ecosystem via India Semiconductor Mission, focusing on design, fabrication and talent, positioning India as a global hub for electronics manufacturing and design. Bengaluru-based QPi AI announced the launch of one of India's most powerful quantum computers, featuring 25 superconducting qubits. It integrates advanced quantum processors, next-generation quantum HPC software platforms, and AI-enhanced quantum solutions. With these milestones, QPi AI is driving deep science and deep tech innovation across life sciences, drug discovery, material sciences, mobility, logistics, sustainability, and climate action. Council of Scientific and Industrial Research developed indigenous technology to produce paracetamol, a widely used pain reliever and fever reducer. This innovation aims to make India self-reliant in paracetamol manufacturing, reducing dependence on imported ingredients, aligning with Prime Minister Modi's Atmanirbhar Bharat vision. India has developed its own comprehensive genomic dataset through the Genome India project, sequencing 10,000 whole genomes from diverse populations to create a unique resource for personalized medicine, disease research, and developing India-specific genomic tools. India's strides in AI and emerging tech is making it a hub of global interest and investments. Microsoft announced investment of $17.5 billion in India's cloud and AI infrastructure over about 4 years, describing it as its largest single investment in Asia. Amazon announced new investment of over $35 billion in India by 2030, focusing on AI, boosting exports, expanding logistics, and creating jobs to align with India's digital growth vision. Google will invest $15 billion to build an AI data hub in India. The year 2025 marked many milestones for India in the domain of science and tech. It will be interesting to see how the momentum is taken forward in the new year 2026.
On 30th December 2024, India launched a mission that will go down as one of the most historic moments in our space journey. This mission is the SpaceX mission.
The Indian Space Agency ISRO is gearing up for an exciting mission.
ISRO वो काम करने वाला है जो उसने आज तक कभी नहीं किया.
Prepares to launch its groundbreaking SpaceX mission. SpaceX.
Space is not just a destination. Our rockets carry more than payloads. They carry the dreams of 1.4 billion Indians. From launching a small rocket in 1963 to becoming the first nation to land near the south pole of moon, our journey has been remarkable. Gaganyaan highlights our nation's rising aspirations. Space is about exploration as well as about empowerment.
The National Space Day has more than one messages to convey for a different group of citizens. India is now a frontline nation of the world.
What if I told you that the most powerful player in your medicine cabinet isn't a trillion-dollar American giant or a European pharmaceutical conglomerate, but a country halfway across the world, India? A nation once dismissed as a land of low-cost labor and generic copycat drugs has, over the last few decades, quietly built a pharmaceutical empire that now supplies nearly half the world's generic drugs, and most people never saw it coming. Today, more than 40% of all generic drugs consumed in the United States come from India. In fact, if you've taken a blood pressure tablet, an antibiotic, or even a vaccine in the past year, there's a real chance it came not from a lab in Boston, but from a facility in Hyderabad or Ahmedabad. So how did this transformation happen? How did a country with almost no pharmaceutical manufacturing capability in the 1950s rise to dominate the global market in less than a century? The answer lies in a complex mix of political rebellion, regulatory genius, economic strategy, and scientific resilience. Back in the colonial era, the Indian pharma market was dominated by British and European companies. The entire medical infrastructure was imported. Life-saving drugs were expensive, scarce, and often unavailable to the majority of the Indian population. The country had no ability to manufacture essential medicines locally. It was dependent, disempowered, and sick. But after independence in 1947, things started to change. The new Indian government recognized that access to affordable medicines wasn't just a health issue. It was a matter of national survival. They began encouraging local firms to build capacity. But the real revolution came in 1970. That year, India made a radical move. It changed its patent laws. Unlike most countries at the time, India decided not to recognize product patents for pharmaceuticals. This meant that while Western companies could still patent their manufacturing process, the drugs themselves couldn't be patented in India. Indian scientists and firms were free to legally reverse engineer these medicines and sell them as generic versions at a much lower cost. This was a turning point. It unleashed an explosion of pharmaceutical entrepreneurship. Companies like Cipla, Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, and Lupin began manufacturing world-class generics, often selling them for 1/10 of the original cost. Instead of paying $300 for a branded drug, patients could now access the same formulation for just $5. By the 1980s, India had transitioned from a passive consumer of global medicine to an active, low-cost, high-quality manufacturer, and the world began to take notice. The next big leap came in the 1990s and early 2000s, when Indian companies started exporting generic drugs globally. The demand was massive, especially in developing nations that couldn't afford branded Western medicines. But even the West, including the United States, began to rely heavily on these cheaper alternatives. Today, India supplies over 20% of the world's generic drug volume. It's the single largest provider of antiretrovirals used to treat HIV. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Indian firms were crucial in producing remdesivir, hydroxychloroquine, and even vaccines that were sent across the globe. 1 in every 3 pills taken in the United States is made in India. The US FDA has approved more manufacturing plants in India than in any other country outside the US. That's not just coincidence. That's infrastructure, scale, and trust built over decades. But it wasn't always smooth. In the early 2000s, as Indian companies scaled up exports, questions about quality control started to emerge. The US Food and Drug Administration began conducting surprise inspections and issuing warning letters. Some Indian factories were banned from exporting. The headlines were brutal, but instead of collapsing under pressure, the Indian pharma sector doubled down. Companies invested in GMP, good manufacturing practices, upgraded their plants, improved compliance, and hired specialized teams to oversee quality assurance. Today, India boasts over 600 FDA-approved plants, more than any country in the world except the US. That's not just scale, that's credibility. And the industry didn't stop at just making generics. It moved up the value chain. Companies like Biocon and Zydus began developing biosimilars, complex biologic drugs that are difficult to manufacture but crucial for cancer and autoimmune treatment. Others started investing in new drug research and international patents. India was no longer just copying. It was innovating. Then came the moment of global recognition, COVID-19. As the world scrambled for vaccines, India's Serum Institute emerged as the world's largest vaccine manufacturer. Partnering with AstraZeneca, it produced millions of doses of Covishield, which were shipped to dozens of countries. The Indian government's Vaccine Maitri initiative sent millions of free doses to low-income nations. When other countries hoarded, India distributed. This wasn't just pharma. It was soft power. It was health diplomacy. So what exactly makes India so dominant in pharmaceuticals? It's a combination of factors. First, the country has one of the world's largest pools of English-speaking scientists and chemical engineers. Second, its cost of manufacturing is significantly lower due to economies of scale and labor efficiencies. Third, its regulatory ecosystem has matured to meet global standards. And fourth, its industrial clusters, like in Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Telangana, enable large-scale production and logistics. But perhaps the biggest strength is mindset. Indian companies are built around the philosophy of affordable access. It's not about making luxury drugs for billionaires. It's about making essential medicine available to the poorest patient in the remotest village. Yet even this empire has its vulnerabilities. The biggest one? APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredients. Despite its manufacturing prowess, India still imports nearly 70% of its APIs from China. This dependency became a major concern during COVID when global supply chains broke down. If China shuts down API exports, India's pharma engine slows down. That's a strategic risk. To counter this, the Indian government has launched the PLI scheme, production-linked incentives, to encourage local API manufacturing. But reducing this dependency will take years and massive investment. Then there's the competition. Countries like Vietnam, Bangladesh, and Brazil are also developing their generic manufacturing capacity. Western pharma is pushing back through tighter IP regulations and lobbying. There are also ethical concerns around clinical trials, environmental pollution from pharmaceutical waste, and overdependence on exports. Still, India remains the world's pharmacy, for now, and likely for the foreseeable future. From the poorest village in sub-Saharan Africa to the most advanced hospital in New York, Indian medicines are saving lives, quietly, affordably, and reliably. This is not just a story of economic growth. It's a story of global health transformation. In a world where a single insulin injection in the US can cost $300, Indian companies offer it for less than $5. When American veterans can't afford cancer treatment, when African children die for lack of antibiotics, when Western insurance systems are bankrupt from drug prices, India stands as the invisible engine keeping global healthcare alive. It is without a doubt one of the greatest untold success stories of the 21st century, and it's still unfolding. So the next time you open a pill bottle, look closely. Somewhere in small print it might say manufactured in India, and now you know what that really means.
These top 15 historical places in India. On number 1 is Taj Mahal. One of the 7 wonders of the world, Taj Mahal is the jewel of Indian monuments. If you consider the top 10 historical places in India, Taj Mahal will always be ranking high on the list. On number 2 is the Red Fort. The Red Fort was constructed over 10 years from 1638 to 1648. The fort was constructed when Shah Jahan shifted the capital from Agra to Delhi. Qutub Minar of Delhi comes on number 3. Regarded as the site of the first Muslim kingdom in northern India, the Qutub Minar is definitely one of the most historical sites in India. It is one of the finest examples of Indo-Muslim architecture as it is made up of red sandstone. Humayun's tomb comes on number 4. A beautiful example of Indian and Persian architecture, Humayun's wife Hamida Banu Begum authorized the construction of this tomb for her husband in 15th century. Next comes is Hawa Mahal of Jaipur. The Palace of Winds or Hawa Mahal get its name due to the fact that it looks like a honeycomb. With its 953 windows, it is also shaped like a crown, as the ruler who built it, Maharaj Savai Pratap Singh, was a major devotee of Lord Krishna. Khajuraho temples of Madhya Pradesh comes at number 6. Khajuraho has always been thought of a place that portrays sensuality and eroticism at its best. Konark Temple of Odisha comes on number 7. Built by the great ruler of Ganga dynasty, King Narsamadeva I, with 1200 artisans, the Konark Temple is like magic set in multiple stones. Victoria Memorial of Kolkata comes on number 8. The Victoria Memorial in Kolkata is one of the most historical tourist places in India and was built during the peak of British era in India. On number 9th comes the infamous Jallianwala Bagh. The bloody history of Jallianwala Bagh is known to almost everyone. The Jallianwala massacre took place near Golden Temple in Amritsar. Covering around 6.5 acres, it is the place where General Dyer ordered a mass shooting on the day of Baisakhi. Golden Temple of Amritsar comes on number 10th. One of the most famous Gurdwara in entire world, Sri Harminder Sahib, is one of the most important spiritual places in India. While it has been around for a long time, it was rebuilt with pure gold and marble in 1830 by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. India Gate of Delhi comes on number 11th. This 42-meter monument is often compared with Arc de Triomphe in Paris. Located on the Rajpath, it was designed by Edward Lutyens, dedicated to 82,000 soldiers of both Indian and British descent who fought in World War I and 13,300 soldiers who were martyred in 3rd Anglo-Afghan War. Amer Fort of Jaipur comes on number 12. Only 11 km from the Pink City Jaipur, Amer Fort is one of the most magnificent forts in India. Built by Maharaja Man Singh in 1592, it was truly the residence of kings. Another UNESCO site in the heart of Rajasthan, Gateway of India comes on number 13th. Built as an access point for the entry and exit during the British period, the Gateway of India is one of the most important places in India. Ajanta and Ellora caves comes on number 14th. The Ajanta and Ellora caves depict true craftsmanship skills, with each rock carving was done by hand. Last but not the least, Hampi, the king town of monuments. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is one of the most famous historical places in South India and was also the region where Vijayanagara's main coin mint was situated.
Just look around you. You'll find a temple bell ringing and somewhere nearby an azan echoing through the sky. You'll see a mother draping her child in a Kanjivaram sari in Chennai while a grandma in Patiala folds a paratha with the same love. There's a boy learning Bharatnatyam in the south and a girl rapping in Bhojpuri in the north. We are all so different and yet we belong to the same Desh. India isn't just a country, it's a feeling. A stubborn, beautiful, chaotic, colorful emotion. Where the world says diversity creates division, India smiles back and says, nah, not here. Diversity is the DNA. So on this 15th August, let's hit pause. Let's forget the noise and just listen to the story of a country that is not one voice, but a million harmonies. This is 28 states, 122 languages, one Desh. So here's a stat to blow your mind. India has 22 officially recognized languages, but across the country, people speak in over 19,500 dialects. That's not a typo. 19,500. We've got Kashmiri up north, Malayalam down south, Gujarati on the west, Manipuri on the east, and in between, there's someone reading poetry in Konkani, arguing in Marwadi, or singing lullabies in Santhali. Plus, you know that special Indian way of talking, like, bro, chalo yaar, let's go eat. We are all basically multilingual DJs, mixing languages in real time. Even on internet, we are all out there commenting in English, memeing in Tamil, English, Hindi hybrids, and saying ayyo with the same energy as arey, yaar. And that's the magic. We don't just speak to communicate, we speak to belong. Now, if languages are how we talk, food is how we love. India's culinary map is wild. Each state is basically its own MasterChef episode. In Punjab, butter chicken simmers with ghee and glory. In Bengal, machir jhol whispers the taste of rivers and mustard oil. Odisha gives us pakla bhat, a fermented rice dish that's a full monsoon mood. And then there's sizzling chaat from UP, litti chokha from Bihar, bai from Mizoram, and appam with stew from Kerala. We fight over which biryani is best and who invented Rasgulla. And let's not even start on mangoes. Every bite is a story. Every dish is an identity. There are over 50 regional variations of dal, and every Indian will swear their mother's version is the only correct one. Because in India, food isn't just fuel. It's emotion, memory, and sometimes a full-blown personality trait. And what do we do with all that food? We celebrate. If calendars had feelings, the Indian one would be exhausted. There's always a festival, and we never do anything halfway. There's Diwali and Eid, Christmas and Pongal, Onam in Kerala, Bihu in Assam, Durga Puja in Bengal, Ganesh Chaturthi in Maharashtra. And somewhere someone's bursting crackers just for fun. We celebrate harvest, rain, spring, light, love, even kites. And we don't just celebrate our own festivals. We gate crash everyone else's too. Because in India, if you have a friend, you have an invite. We might have different gods, rituals, and calendars. But somehow, all our hearts beat to one rhythm. The rhythm of celebration. Now let's talk style. Indian clothing isn't just about what's trending. It's a wearable family tree. The Manipuri Fanek, the Maharashtrian Nawari, the Rajasthani Bandhani, the Kashmiri Pheran, the Naga Mekhla, the Punjabi Salwar Kameez, the Lepcha Dumbum. Every piece of fabric carries centuries of culture. We don't just dress to impress, we dress to express. And you know what's cooler? We remix it. Saris with sneakers, jhumkas with jeans, but you know what? It still slaps. Because tradition in India isn't rigid. It's cool like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, plug in your headphones because we are going on a sonic trip. We've got Hindustani classical in Varanasi, Carnatic magic in Chennai, the beats of Bhangra in Punjab, and the calm of Rabindra Sangeet in Bengal. Oh, then there's Bollywood, that glorious beast that gave us everything from Mera Joota Hai Japani to Apna Time Aayega. Then throw in some indie artists, Coke Studio collabs, gully rap, temple chants, and train station bhajans, and you've got the most chaotic and beautiful sonic identity ever made. Because in India, music doesn't just play in the background, it plays in our soul. Now let's zoom out. What really holds all of this together? It's not laws or politics, it's culture. Our culture is both the past we remember and the future we remix. From Kathakali to Kalari Pattu, from yoga to Ayurveda, from grandma's nuskhe to Gen Z memes about Mercury retrograde, India's culture is both ancient and trending. We don't just preserve heritage, we remix it. From classical art to street murals, Sanskrit shloks to stand-up comedy, we are constantly creating without forgetting where we came from. Our culture is not frozen in museums. It's alive, breathing, doodling on auto rickshaw backs, vibing on stage, cooking in kitchens, chanting in temples. But you know what's the most beautiful part of India? We may argue over whose biryani is better or which city has the worst traffic, but when India wins, we all win. From cricket fields to space orbits, Oscars to Nobel Prizes, every triumph feels personal, like a family member made it big. From midnight on August 15, 1947 to Chandrayaan touching the moon, from Kapil lifting the 83 World Cup to Dhoni sealing it in 2011, from Abhinav Bindra's Olympic gold to Mary Com's fearless punches, from Neeraj Chopra's javelin to our collective goosebumps, from Mother India and Lagan at the Oscars to Natu Natu making the world dance. Every time the tricolor flies high, whether on a medal, a moon, or a movie poster, it lifts 1.4 billion hearts with it. Because when India wins, we all win. No subtitles needed. So, what is India? Not a melting pot. It's a thali. A bit of spice here, a sweet over there, some crunch, some calm, and yes, a lot of flavor. You don't need to be the same to belong. In India, you just need to show up with your language, food, music, or weird WhatsApp forwards, and somehow you fit right. We argue, we overthink, we overeat, but we also love, laugh, hustle, and celebrate together. And that's what makes us Indian.